Hello everyone, today I'm reviewing the Ocean Tarot by Bryn, Hultquist-Todd. And before I get into the specifics of this deck, I just want to say that this tarot designer, you can see created by Bryn, Hultquist-Todd, and that's the URL for her website. This tarot designer is very prolific, okay? Before I went about making this video, I went on her website just to do some research, and she has so many decks. She has a cat deck, a dog deck, then there's this one, there is the Earth Tarot, and there is the Myths and Legends Tarot, and not only that, but she has a list of other decks she's gonna make and the years they're gonna come out, and she's pacing herself to release one a year, which is crazy impressive because obviously creating a tarot deck involves drawing 78 separate images, and she even goes about creating additional oracle cards for her tarot decks, so that's even more to create. So yes, very prolific tarot designer. Yes, so I just thought I would note that. Another thing worth noting is that her decks are also very expensive. This one, it was somewhere in the range of $75 to $80, making it one of the most expensive tarot decks that I own. The only competitor for that title being my last Unicorn tarot deck. But I do think it kind of makes sense just because, Bryn mentions on her website how I don't know if she does I don't know if she creates tarot as her full-time job, but she mentioned being able to create tarot decks without taking a break. So if she is doing this for her full-time job, it makes sense why she would price the decks so high, and obviously it's working out for her if she can continue to price them like that. So no judgment, it just is a notable fact if you want to think about buying this deck. Sorry for being 2 minutes in the video and not having shown you any of the cards yet. Anyways, so this deck feels very esoteric to me, and the reason why that is first of all, the minor arcana cards, with the exception of the aces and the court cards, they have the numbers at the top, but on the card there's no written indication of what the suit is, and so to figure it out you just have to look at whatever whichever of the suits is being pictured in the card, so it gives it kind of a more mysterious feel to it. Another reason why this has an esoteric feel to it is because this, I believe, is the only deck I have that uses the number 8 for justice and the number 11 for strength, as opposed to the other way around. And this numbering system is from it's from a tarot deck that predates the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, with which most of us are familiarized. I don't remember why Justice was 8 and Strength was 11 when the first tarot deck was designed, but I do know that the reason why they switched it in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck was because they wanted Strength to come right after the Chariot, because the Chariot is associated with Cancer, the zodiac sign, not the illness, and Strength is a very Leo energy card, so they wanted it to come after the Chariot, and the same with Justice, they wanted it to be associated with Libra. So that's just a little bit of tarot history for you. But anyways, this deck is the only deck that I own that has the more original numbering on it, so very interesting. But yeah, so while we're looking at these cards, let me just show you some of my favorite cards in the deck. This is the Three of Cups, as you saw. The art in this deck is all so detailed. It's very very impressive to me. It's watercolor and ink, which I've mentioned before. I love the medium of watercolor and ink. I just love the look of it. And this deck takes it to the next level, I'm not even gonna lie. Yes, Strength card, one of my favorites. Justice card, one of my favorites. And then more. Alright, this is the Ace of Cup card. The Ace of Cups card, my bad, my B. I like the way the axolotls are drawn. Then Ace of Pentacles. I love the way these bubbles look, and like I like the lines on the humpback whales. And then the Ten of Pentacles. The colors on this one are very pretty. I also just like in this deck in general, I think the use of white on the cards is very well done. I feel like that's an oddly specific thing for me to point out, but every time there's like the color white is on a card, it works nicely just with the water. I don't know if that's a weird thing for me to be saying, but I dig it. Oh, the Queen of Pentacles. The otter just looks like very cute, and I like the kelp in the back. And then Judgment. This is just like a very eventful card. Like it's very active when you can see like the birds diving in. So I love it for that. And this is the Three of Wands. I really like how deep sea creatures are drawn in this deck. And we see like the bioluminescence. Very nice. The ocean obviously has some very interesting specimens in it that like work well for artwork. Oh yes, Six of Wands. I like the way this turtle is drawn. Oh, this might be my favorite card in the deck, Temperance. It's just something about like the green and blue, like the shades of green and blue here, and I love the manatee. It's just so pretty, and it also has like somewhat of a brighter color scheme compared to most of the cards in this deck. This is the Ten of Cups. I love the rainbow. I think it was done really well. And like there's more attention drawn to it with all like the bubbles around it too. So that's nice. The Six of Pentacles, another deep sea being. Looks very nice, very, very shiny. Oh, and the Death card. I love this one so much. It's a very like it's a very powerful and like evocative death card. All right, now some cards that I think are like especially clever or notable. So I want to point this out. What's interesting is that there's a hermit crab pictured on the Chariot card and not on the Hermit card, which I mentioned this in my review for the Affirmators Tarot deck. In the Affirmators Tarot deck, they used like a hermit crab for the hermit, which is a very obvious pun to make. But and it was interesting to me when I like first got this deck. I was like, oh, like she didn't utilize the pun, which, you know, like her deck takes a more scientific approach to the ocean, which I'll discuss when I get to talking about the guidebook. But having the hermit crab for the Chariot also works well because as I already mentioned, the Chariot is associated with the sign Cancer, so are crabs, so you know, like it works. Another notable card, there's a sunfish on the Sun card, which I think I thought that was nice. And there is a vampire squid on the Devil card, which is a reference to how the scientific name for the vampire squid literally translates to vampire squid from hell. So I thought that was nice. Just a nice little reference there. All right. So this is the back of the card. It is so pretty. I mean, this deck is just so stunning. Yeah, like all of her decks are so stunning. Yeah, it is not the same upright or upright in reverse, but it doesn't really matter. It's just something I point out. Another thing I'm gonna point out about this deck before I get into the guidebook is that the edges of the cards are like, I don't know what you would call that. Or is that like a gilded edge? I don't know, honestly. But whatever you would call that, it's on the edge of the cards, which comparatively speaking, I think it makes them like harder to shuffle sometimes, but it's not a big deal. Like, they're not difficult to shuffle. It just makes it a little more difficult. But you know, it looks pretty. It fits the aesthetic. It fits the like blue and gold on the box. So I can't complain, really. All right, so this is the guidebook, and I would say it's not as good of a guidebook as it could be. Like, as you can see, it's kind of just like paper, like there's no cover on it, which, you know, I like to put it, like to keep it in perspective, some tarot decks don't have guidebooks at all, so I'm certainly not bashing this guidebook, especially when the deck is like so intricate. But yeah, so I would say a good thing about the guidebook is that the card descriptions include both like just facts or information about the animal or animals pictured on the card, and they're also like keywords and a suggested interpretation. That's good. And I've said it in the past, I really appreciate when tarot decks can be educational like this. I think it's a really valuable asset for a tarot deck, so I appreciate that. It is worth noting, however, there are no reverse interpretations, sigh. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, the guidebook is like somewhat underwhelming, but the deck itself is very, very pretty and like very, very intricate. So that would be like my only suggestion. And also, to be fair, as I already said, this is the only tarot deck of Taylor Bryn's that I own, so it's very possible that in recent years she has upped her guidebook game. I would have no way of knowing. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.